Single syllable words in poetic meter. How does that work? In this video, I'm bringing you the quick and painless answer. Hello writers, I'm Renee LaTulipe with the Lyrical Language Lab, the place for children's writers to learn all they need to know about rhyme, meter, and lyrical language. Today I'm back with more poetic meter basics, specifically talking about single syllable words and also how the placement of syllables in a line of meter can change their stress. Now, if you're still not quite sure about what stressed and unstressed syllables are all about, you'll want to take a look first at this video up here where I explain everything you need to know about that. So a little recap. We know that poetic meter is made up of stressed and unstressed syllables that are put together in a particular pattern in a line of verse. And that pattern needs to be consistent throughout the whole verse. We know that in multisyllable words, there is one primary stress. And if there are 3 or more syllables, there's often also a secondary stress in that word. But what happens when we get to one-syllable words? By definition, there's one syllable, so that syllable must be stressed. And the question I am often asked is, does that one-syllable word always need to get a stress in a line of verse? And that answer is really simple. Nope. When put in a line of verse, it is the placement that will decide where that one-syllable word is stressed. To demonstrate this concept, I'm going to use one word, baked or bake, and I'm going to show how it can be used in all 4 basic meters in both stressed and unstressed positions. So let's start with iambic meter. An iamb is one unstressed syllable followed by one stressed syllable, da-dum, in this pattern. And we're going to repeat that, putting bake in a stressed position. I want to bake a cake today. I want to bake a cake today. So let's take that same word and pretty much the same phrase and move it around a little bit so that bake is in an unstressed position. I can't bake all those cakes. I can't bake all those cakes. You see that? Just by changing the position, bake, the one-syllable word, is now in an unstressed position. So let's quickly go through the other 3 meters and do the same exercise. Anapestic, which is 2 unstressed beats followed by a stressed beat, da-da-da. She can bake 20 cakes in the blink of an eye. She can bake 20 cakes in the blink of an eye. Or, all the cakes she baked yesterday sold at the fair. All the cakes she baked yesterday sold at the fair. Pretty cool, huh? Let's move on to trochaic, which is a stressed beat followed by an unstressed beat. Da-da. Bake me 20 cakes today. Bake me 20 cakes today. Or, who baked 20 cakes today? Who baked 20 cakes today? Finally, let's move on to dactylic meter, which is one stressed beat followed by 2 unstressed beats. Da-da-da. And for this one, I'm changing to cookies instead of cakes because I need that extra syllable. So let's go. Thousands of cookies have baked in the sun. Thousands of cookies have baked in the sun. Or, thousands of cookies baked out in the sun. Thousands of cookies baked out in the sun. It's subtle, but you see that in every one of these meters, simply changing the position changes whether or not that one-syllable word is stressed. Now, as long as we're here, let's also take a look at some multisyllable words and how placement can affect those stresses as well. A related question I get a lot is that if a multisyllable word is, let's say, naturally trochaic, does that mean I can only use it in trochaic meter? And the answer, of course, is no, that doesn't mean that at all, because again, it depends on placement. For example, the word never is naturally trochaic. Never. It's got that stressed syllable followed by an unstressed syllable. So, of course, you can use it in a trochaic meter. Never have I baked a cake. That's trochaic. But you can also use it in meter where neither one of those syllables is the heavy stressed syllable. For example, in a dactylic line, it could be Bob never sat on a tack in his life. Bob never sat on a tack in his life. Does that mean that never doesn't have a stressed syllable anymore? No, it doesn't. It just means that what's around it is more stressed. So Bob never sat on a tack in his life makes the word never take a back seat stress-wise. All right, I know this can be a little confusing, but never doesn't lose its primary stress. It's just taking a back seat based on the placement of the word. Stressed syllables are just like real estate. It's all about location, location, location. The important thing is that you remember my mantra, which is don't mess with the stress. That means that you can't force a stress to go where it just doesn't belong. For example, let's take never, which we know the primary stress is on nev, and try to throw it into this iambic line. Will Bob sit on a tack? Never. No. We can never, never, never make somebody say never. It's just not done. Let me share with you a few more examples of how a word or phrase can work in any meter if you get the placement just right. And for this, we need to welcome my lovely assistant, the Dodo Bird. For this exercise, we need to know that dodo is stressed in that way. The primary stress is on the first syllable, Dodo Bird. And here's our dactylic dodo. Dodo bird, don't eat my daffodils. And now our dodo is iambic. He told a gruesome tale of dodo birds in flight. Now he's anapestic. If a dodo bird sat on my head, I would faint. And finally, Mr. Dodo is trochaic. Dodo birds are dirty birds that poop upon your head. I must stress that regardless of which meter you're working in, that dodo bird always has to be a dodo bird, meaning don't mess with the stress. The dodo bird can never ever be a dodo bird because a dodo bird is more extinct than the dodo bird because it simply doesn't exist. And that's that. I told you it was quick and painless, but you do need to practice this concept. So let's get to today's writing prompt. The prompt today is neither a poem nor a piece of prose, but rather a straight-on exercise in which you practice this concept. So all you need to do is choose one or two or three or all of these words and practice this concept by using it in all four major meters, changing the position so that you can see how the stress on the words can change. And if you'd like to share your examples in the comments, I would love to see what you come up with. Thanks for hanging out with me and the Dodo Birds today. If you found the video useful, please do share with your writer pals. Do consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. We'll see you next time. Ciao for now.